Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. You know, so much of what we gain from space every day is unappreciated by the general public. We all know that. And, you know, I just think about the tragedy yesterday. Without the weather satellites, the early warning that we had, how horrible that could have been if it had been more spontaneous, how much more horrible it had been, it could have been. I think it's unfortunate that we don't really have any space plans right now that inspire the general public. For better or worse, the public that I'm familiar with is absolutely, totally underexcited about the prospect of going to an asteroid. And I think we need to have a more robust program. I think I agree with 3 out of 4 of you to make it a national priority. And, you know, funding is always the issue. And funding is the issue because the NASA budget, as small as it is, in comparison to other budgets, is still the biggest piñata. It's the one they go at for totally non-related programs because all the members of this body are not sold on the necessity of it as a matter of return on investment, as a matter of national defense, as a matter of survival for our species ultimately. And my question to the 4 of you would be, how you think we could better move the space message down the field among our colleagues and the general public. If the general public was more excited about it, members of Congress would be more excited about it, and we wouldn't be really limited to underfunding even the smallest possible mission. So we can start with you, Mr. Freeman, and go on down the line until we run out of time.
Yes, thank you. That's a key question, and it's one that I've worked on my whole career as Executive Director of the Planetary Society until I retired from that position. Public interest is key. It's actually the thing, more than science, as I tried to say, more than any other aspect that has gotten me so interested in this asteroid retrieval mission. Because even in the last administration, with a full and dedicated commitment to building a lunar program and going back to the moon, the lunar landing, we forget, slipped all the way out to 2028, and that is if the funding had been maintained, which it wasn't going to be maintained. Where would it have been by now? In the 2030s? The joy of the asteroid retrieval mission, the thing that's got me so excited is we actually begin the process in just a couple of years from now. We're going to be looking for the asteroids this year. We're going to be launching the mission to the asteroid in 3 or 4 years from now. We're going to be towing it in an exciting venture that people will be excited about, something never been done in the history of the space program before. We'll be engaging the public in human space flight, preparing the target in the way we did with Gemini and Mercury before we went to Apollo. And we'll be achieving human missions to the destination in a much sooner timescale rather than having to wait 2 or 3 decades. I want to get to Mars quickly. I've made that clear. But this is the only way I think we can engage the public and maybe drive up the money that goes with that.
It's an interesting question because the premise sort of assumes that unless you have an exciting activity, that people won't support something. And yet our society is filled with valuable, critical things that we all agree are needed that people don't get excited about. And so I think really your challenge is to show the public that they're getting value for the money spent. And that's why I believe that building an extensible, reusable system, a spacefaring system that allows us to do all the things we want to do at various spots in space is the way to go. And one way to do that is to go back to the moon and learn to use those resources. That's the way I advocate. There may be other solutions, but fundamentally I think the key thing we need to do to become a spacefaring people is to develop that system. The things that we get from that, the benefits from that, will be self-evident. I mean, right now, you mentioned the weather satellites. There's communications. We depend on space assets for many aspects of our modern technical civilization. So what we really seek is public support, not necessarily excitement.
I think that the best way to maintain public support is with an unwavering focus on Mars. as the destination. The night that the Curiosity rover landed on Mars, thousands of people turned out in Times Square in New York City at 2 o'clock in the morning just so they could watch it on the big screen. It has captured the public imagination. It has captured public interest. And so I think the best way to maintain that interest is to maintain an unwavering focus on Mars as the ultimate destination and show how each milestone along the way is connected to reaching that destination.
I would agree with that, and the Mars program has done an incredible job of making people aware of what's happening and getting them excited about it, and it's a model, I think, for what we do. I think a key aspect of this is having a plan that people recognize. We don't have one right now, a long-term plan on how to get to Mars. I think we need one with defined steps that are exciting, that we know we'll have achievements that contribute to that ultimate goal, and if we have a wide range of stakeholders, including the science community, including the public, including media, including academia and private industry, as a part of defining that set of objectives and goals, then you build in advocacy from those groups that also are a part of the plan.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.